Good afternoon, everyone. I'm David Talbot, Managing Director and Head of Research at Red Cloud Securities. Our next presenters are David Rhodes, Executive Chairman, and Alexandra Woodyer-Sharon, CEO and President of Empress Royalty Corporation. Empress is a rather new royalty company, and it's entirely focused on precious metals. It differentiates itself by creating its own royalties and streams and working directly with the mining companies that require financing. David and Alex, you have 15 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A session at the end. Attendees, please feel free to ask any questions and press the link below. Okay, thank you. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Empress Royalty, strategically partnered to create value through gold and silver investments. Forward-looking statements, I encourage you to have a look at these. They're also available on our website. Highlights. Empress, we are a new precious metals royalty and streaming creation company, started trading on the TSXV in December and on the OTC in February. Our current portfolio consists of 16 royalty and streaming investments. We're focused on building a strong portfolio of cash producing assets and currently evaluating over $100 million of potential investments. We have strategic relationships with Endeavor Financial and Terra Capital, who provide global mining finance networks to generate deal flow. We have exclusive access to Mexican royalty and streaming deals through strategic alliance with Ascendo Banco. Over 250 years of experience with the board and management in mining finance and completed over $6 billion of transactions. So a very strong mining finance team here at Empress. What are royalty and streams? So a royalty is when we would invest into a mining company, and then we would receive in return a percentage of revenue from production going forward. With a stream, we invest also into a mining company, but we're able to buy at a discounted price gold or silver in the future. There are many different types of royalty and streaming companies. We look at them from 3 different types. There's the royalty generation. It's early stage and typically inexpensive to purchase one of these royalties. There's the exploration risk, though. There's no guarantee the project will turn into a mine. And if it does turn into a mine, there's a long lead time to revenue generation. Another type of royalty company is the royalty trading acquisition companies, third-party royalty acquisitions. So the royalty is already in place. It's a pretty simple acquisition, but it's a very crowded marketplace, typically paying a premium and part of a competitive bid process. Also, there's no direct relationship with the mining companies, which doesn't allow for the opportunity to negotiate the contract or to really have a feeling of what's happening on the ground with that company. Where we are Empress is focused is on the creation and the origination side. We work with mining companies to create royalty and streams. We work and develop flexible structures to fit the goals of all parties. And we have that direct relationship with a mining company. So we're able to really know what's happening with the company and the project moving forward. And we're very much focused on producing assets, and those are the type of investments we choose, which will bring revenue into Empress. When you look at the investment benefits of royalty and streams, from a shareholder's perspective, it's leveraged to the gold and silver price. You have access to a globally diversified portfolio of assets. With investing in a royalty company, you have limited exposure to capital and operating costs compared to typical mining companies. And once we've got revenue coming into Empress, we plan on establishing a dividend policy and moving it forward. Royalty companies outperform gold. Here we look at the royalty index versus the price of gold versus the gold miners ETF over the last 10 years. Initial rapid growth. Typical life cycle of a new royalty company begins with initial entry to market, followed by rapid growth. Here we look at Maverick, Metalla, and Sandstorm over the last couple of years. We're on, month 5 for Empress. And with our partnerships and the type of investments that we're looking to make, we believe we'll be able to quickly accelerate to stage 2 rapid growth. Moving on to our partnerships, Endeavor Financial, Terra, and Ascendo. All 3 partners, management and board, own just under 40% of the company, so very much aligned with shareholders to see real value created here at Empress. And with that, I'll hand to David to chat about Endeavor Financial.
Thanks, Alex. Endeavor Financial is the investment manager for Empress. We are also one of the founding shareholders. And in this instance, a bit about Endeavor Financial, actually, for the audience. Endeavor's been around for 30 years now, and we're one of the top tier financial advisory groups with a global reach. The key focus here for Empress is that we provide them with identifying and finding new assets to invest in. And additionally, we also provide them with some investment manager support. So not only do we identify, we also look to structure and negotiate those transactions, and also do the cash flow modeling, the financial analysis to assess whether a suitable investment for the company. And so we're providing a lot of the back office support for the company as well. So full support from us, not only as a shareholder, obviously board members as well, but also from adding our whole team to assist them with structuring and then negotiating transactions.
Thank you, David. Our second strategic partner is Terra Capital out of Australia, run by Jeremy Bond, who's also on one of our directors and on our investment committee. Terra Capital has become one of the best performing boutique fund managers in the country. This gives us access to Australian opportunities to invest in Australian listed companies with projects internationally, as well as Jeremy's been an active investor in the Canadian mining industry for the last 10 years, a great capital markets network. Our third partner is Ascendo Banco. We signed a strategic alliance with them in August. Ascendo is an active investor and lender in the Mexican mining industry. They have a specific charter that allows them to do this. They have over 30 different mining companies as their clients. And this gives us access to be able to see if we can provide a royalty or streaming opportunity for them. And you'll see this in a few moments with Adelaide. You know, Ascendo will provide, say a project needs $10 million to get into production. Ascendo can provide debt for $7 million, and then we come alongside and provide a $3 million royalty or stream. We often work together, but we are not mandated to work together. So again, you'll see in the portfolio, it's a combination of both for Empress, so very diversified. When we look at our investment focus, we look at it from 5 different ways. The project stage, we are looking at development and production stage projects, again, to get companies or get projects into production or to increase their production. Company size, small and mid-tier, we are looking at both public and private companies where we're seeing opportunity. And as David said in the very beginning, we are a pure precious metals royalty and streaming creation company. We are only looking at gold and silver. We look globally, and also the investment size is anywhere from $500,000 to $20 million. Sweet spots at 1 to 10, 1 to 15 for Empress. Moving into our portfolio, we currently have 16 investments, 2 investments in progress, and those are ones we have exclusivity on, and we have over 10 opportunities that we're looking at and discussing with management groups right now. The first one we completed was the Pinos royalty in Zacatecas, Mexico, owned by Candelaria Mining. This was a $1.5 million investment for us, which gave us a 1% royalty across the entire project. This currently has a 7-year mine life plan, but that's based upon 1 vein out of 7. So we expect this one to get a lot more interesting. The company's expecting to be into production towards the beginning to middle of next year. The next investment we just recently completed was the Manica gold royalty. This was a $2 million investment for a 2.25% royalty across the entire project in Mozambique, owned by MMP. This one has a 3-year mine life plan, but there's additional upside from satellite deposits. There's 4 satellite deposits nearby, so we expect it to have a lot longer life on it. I should also mention here that throughout the presentation, we use $1,750 gold and $21 silver. So the annual cash flow based upon that price on $1,750 gold is about $1 million a year. This one was brought to us through our relationship and partnership with Endeavour Financial. And perhaps, David, do you want to touch base a little bit more about this opportunity that we've brought on into Empress?
Sure, thanks. And this really shows the global nature of what we're looking to put in place here for Empress. And just to reassure people, we're only looking and we'd only suggest opportunities, obviously, to the board of Empress that we have a comfort factor about. And when I say comfort factor, that's knowing the sponsors behind it. And in this case, we've known the sponsors for 20 years. They have other operations in Africa, so they understand Africa and how to operate. Secondly, it's countries that we have been involved in the past, so we understand as an advisor to the company. So we've done transactions, have been successful, we understand the legal and regulatory environment. So that's the key criteria for why we're looking at a place like Mozambique. Additionally, you may have noticed in the press over the last 5 years, there's been a huge LNG find in the north of Mozambique. $15 billion of international money is now pouring into the country. the regulations and the systems have been rejuvenated to reflect that. So just a bit of feel for if, when we say global, it's global in the sense of where we're happy to obviously put investments towards the Empress board.
Thank you. The next investment is the Tahuehueto silver stream. We've completed the agreement. We funded the first tranche of 2 million, and we're waiting for the final CPs for the second tranche of 3 million to be completed. This is a $5 million investment for Empress. This is in Durango, Mexico, owned by Atelier Mining, formerly known as Tilson Mining. This should be in production towards the end of this year, beginning of next year. This is a great example of us working together with our partners to create a full financing solution. So in this case, the project was 60% built. The company had some challenges, and then Ascendo Banco is coming in with a $12 million debt. We're providing a $5 million silver stream, and then Endeavor and Ascendo were arranging the debt involved in that for $8 million. So a full $25 million solution. So this company is now moving forward, and they're back on site building this mine. We have an exploration portfolio of 13 early stage gold exploration projects. Obviously fantastic to have, especially being in Canada, but our focus is much more on production, which brings me to our investments in progress. Currently, we have exclusivity on both of these transactions. We've negotiated terms. The one in Peru for $10 million, we'd be doubling their production. The one in Kenya for $2.5 million, we'd be helping them increase the production by a third. So both of these assets are in production. The one in Peru, we've done the due diligence. We're now in the final documentation stage. The one in Kenya, challenges with COVID and travel and getting third-party engineers there. So they'll be at site hopefully next week and moving that one forward. These are the type of transactions we're focused now. Again, it's revenue focused, production, bringing money into Empress. Here's an example of the type of transactions we're looking at and groups that we're talking management groups on. It's a combination of a stream and a royalty. We're looking Mexico, Brazil, Indonesia, Ghana, Peru, Australia, Chile, Ecuador. We really are looking globally at opportunities, production stage, pre-production, development stage assets, and a combination of gold and silver. When we look at potential revenue, and this is again based on $1,750 gold and $21 silver, it's based upon the Pinos and Manica royalty. It's based upon Tahuehueto silver stream completing. It's not including anything we're looking at production. The potential forecasted revenue in US dollars for 2022 should be just over $5 million. 2023, just over 7, and over 9 million, closer to 10 in 2024. But obviously we're looking at production stage assets to bring on board. Here you look at the market positioning. Empress trades at a large discount on all key metrics. Board of Directors, David, myself, and Jeremy on the investment committee. Paul, CFA from London. Rick, geologist from Vancouver. Wes, mining engineer in Toronto. Natasha in Vancouver, mining finance lawyer. We have advisors who's recently appointed. Javier Reyes is the chairman and CEO of Ascendo Banco. And then David Lang, who's just joined us as technical advisor. He's had over 40 years of experience in the industry, was former CEO of Equinox. Myself and Rich. Rich is based in New York, VP Americas, supported by a strong team here in Vancouver. Capital structure, $17 million in cash, no debt, about 100 million shares outstanding. Strategic partners management and board own 38%, institutional investors about 32%, and the public floats about 30% in the market. So what have we achieved to date? When we started in July, we acquired the initial 13 early stage gold exploration royalties and we spun out. We did a strategic alliance with Ascendo Banco and the Finders Financing to position Endeavor, Terra, and Ascendo in August. We did a pre-financing listing in October where we went to raise 5, but we had such strong support from institutions, we ended up raising 8. We did the Candelaria royalty in November, started trading the TSXV on December 29th. We did the Manica royalty, listed in the US, did a $16 million brokered financing in the end of March. And then we're now in the process of completing the Adelaide silver stream and building out the portfolio. In summary, we are a newly listed early stage precious metals royalty and streaming creation company with a portfolio of 16 investments, focused on the creation of financing solution for mining company partners, looking at over $100 million worth of potential investment opportunities. And we have strong partnerships with Endeavour Financial, Terra Capital, and Ascendo Banco. We're forecasting initial revenue for later this year, early next year, with plans to establish a dividend policy at the appropriate time. Thank you so much for everyone for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Alexandra, David. Yeah, please feel free to hit the button and ask any questions, should anybody have some. We do have a couple here. I guess, what does your hands-on approach to royalty creation bring to the table as far as helping Empress minimize risk?
David?
Yeah, I think exactly that. We can use, rather than just buying a bit of paper that someone else has structured, someone else has done all that due diligence on, we're there. So we get our technical guys to site, we look through the models, we can do the full analysis, meet the management, assess them. So by creating it yourself, you are there at the negotiating table with the company, you're there looking at the assets. So it's a full involvement in all that due diligence.
Yeah, we've got access to all their data rooms. We've got access to their full team where we really get to know the assets.
Yeah, it's so different to when you obviously just in an auction process for someone else's stream or royalty, yeah, where there's usually limited DD. And often once the stream and royalty is in place, there's often not a lot of information sharing that's allowed. So we're in the deep end. It just takes time. All of that does take a bit of time.
Yeah, that sort of was my next question. Would you help essentially, I'm not going to say run the asset, but would you be involved in the operations of the asset going down the road, or any involvement at all?
You know, we are providing the money to sort of obviously to get into production or expand what they are. We're not involved in the operational side, but you know, if they have other financing needs or whatever, you know, whether it's Empress or whether it's in the group, you know, you have access to that.
Okay. I'd say that we do. Yeah, we certainly maintain a relationship, and there are certain aspects that we are pretty key. We have certain covenants in our documentation. ESG is obviously a big factor for us, as well as obviously making sure they keep certain performance levels. So in a lot of our documentation, if the performance levels or the ESG is not up to scratch, then obviously we do get some right to obviously, you know, discuss and get involved.
Yeah, you mentioned ESG. There's a lot of elements out there right now that are sort of falling into that basket. You know, battery metals or green energy metals. Would you ever consider non-precious metals royalties or streams?
No, we are a pure precious metals royalty company. So we are just looking at gold and silver. And that's very important to us to stay true to that.
Okay. How about buying third-party royalties if the right opportunity came around? Or would you rather keep your relationships strong?
Never say never. You know, the opportunities come by our way all the time. But for us, we see the real value and we see the better returns in the creation side. And we have so much opportunity in that way where we are working directly with the mining companies that it makes sense. Sometimes it's a bit of a combination of one, but no, we're on the creation side of the business model.
Okay, great, thank you. You'll hope to become cash flowing very shortly. Can you maybe perhaps a little bit elaborate a little bit on the timing of this?
So with the current assets we have at the moment, Manica, the one in Mozambique, that's going into production. They're forecasting production this fall. So hopefully we'll start seeing some revenue towards the end of this year on that. Obviously a small amount, but it's getting into production. With the Tahuehueto silver stream, that mine's currently about 60-70% built right now. So they're forecasting that to be completed towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. So those would be the ones that are currently part of the investment portfolio that'll be bringing revenue. But if we're able to move forward on one of these ones that I was looking at, we're looking at our investments in progress, that are already in production, they'd bring immediate revenue into Empress.
Okay, and you showed us your pipeline. So beyond that one, you know, how many of these deals might you want to realize over the course of the next, say, 6 or 12 months?
As many as we can. No, I mean, you know, as we move these forward and we talk with different management groups, sometimes some of the environmental standards aren't there, so they fall away from the pipeline, or technically something doesn't check out. But, you know, we're pretty comfortable the ones we have an investment in progress, we'll have a very good success rate with. And, you know, we'll probably see capacity of what we can do. 3 or 4 can probably move forward within a 12-month period, if not more. It depends. Some of these are really hands-on and take a long time to move through. Some move faster. So it's everything's bespoke that we're doing.
Perfect. Okay, David, Alexandra, thank you very much for talking to us today. Up next, everyone, Gray Panther Mining.
Thank you, everyone.